So I know full well you went to college, but I can also appreciate that some of your peers may not have a degree to fall back on. So, like, wrestling is the deal. You spend your life being comfortable around a microphone, developing confidence to interact with people, and, like, spending a lot of time in the weight room. But, like, that's not transferable to everything. Not that it's not transferable to anything. It's not transferable to everything. So, like, if you're not wrestling, what the hell do you do with your life? Like, what are you suited for?
You know, a couple of years ago, I came up with the perfect backup plan. And honestly, I thought about quitting wrestling to do this full time. It started when I saw Magic Mike.
Oh my God. Is it okay to admit, like, I mean, I may or may not have seen Channing Tatum in that film and Matthew McConaughey and reference A Room Full of Lawbreakers.
I feel like the Magic Mike movies are cinematic masterpieces, Pete. I find the profession itself beautiful. I find the aesthetically pleasing males beautiful. And I'm in no way, shape, or form attracted to them. But you know what? I respect it because I know the type of work it takes to look like they do.
Oh, I was just going to respect anyone who could pelvic thrust in perfect sync with the sound of a machine gun, like, added in post.
Have you ever gone to Broad Ripple and tried to break it down at the club? You know how hard that is? You know how hard it is to hip-hop dance, man? It's impossible. It might be only in the movies. For real.
There's just never been an impromptu, like, dance battle.
The fact that many white dudes in one movie could break it down like that is insane. That's how you know it's fiction. But you know what I wanted to do, Pete? I wanted to become a male stripper.
So when you say wanted to become, like, just a passing fancy, hey, I spend time in the gym anyway, like, and just a half-hearted thought? Or did you, like, plan this thing out?
You know how when women get a lot of student loan debt, they start stripping because it's a resource that for a slight while is reusable, like renewable, I mean. Renewable resources. Yeah, cut that in post.
There's a period in time in which women can get naked and people will pay them for it.
So I thought I'd lost my train of thought, honestly. With all of the time I spent working on my physique, I thought, you know, it'd be nice if I could make some actual money off of this. And wrestling isn't really paying my rent. I've been doing this for 10 years.
Ever since William the Fruit Smasher dropped the gig, like, you just weren't getting paychecks. Like,
yeah, if I'd finally gotten my show on friggin' A&E or the History Channel or whatever he was promising, I'd be rich by now. But that didn't work out. So 2016 rolled around, and you know who's still broke AF? Jake Omen. But you know who's broke AF and has, like, a bicep vein? Jake Omen. You know who's broke as hell and has traps? Jake Omen does. So, like, what can I use my traps for, Pete?
Where are people not going to notice your oddly disproportionate triceps? Like in a dark lit room with club music.
I Googled how to make this a reality. You know, one of my good friends years ago, Mike, used to be a male stripper in Indianapolis. So I immediately Googled the club he used to strip at, which was a gay club, but he said it was often frequented by straight women. And I mean, I don't care who's tipping me. Honestly, if when I get complimented by gay men, that goes a lot further than getting complimented by women.
Hey, a tip's a tip, no matter where it comes from.
I mean, they care a lot more. It's going to be harder to be judged by them anyway. So I'd rather be critiqued by professionals at their craft. But I Googled the club and it was gone. Just poof. Like
much like your hopes and dreams.
Yeah, my dashed. No male strip clubs in Indiana, Pete.
Surely you can still live that dream, though, in some form or fashion.
I looked up, like, at-home services, like bachelor party for hire and bachelorette party for hire type things. I did come across Omen's Exotic Dancers, for irony. That's a thing. Omen's Exotic Dancers based out of Indianapolis, and you can hire dudes to come over dressed as, like, firemen or cops or, I don't know, football players.
And you know what? They could also sponsor the show, by the way. Free plug.
We're
Think
waiting.
about it.
Pretty sure we're going to have to retain a lawyer soon.
So a strip club an at-home stripping service, an exotic dancing service with your namesake is in existence already.
Unfortunately, they have a dossier of super ripped up men probably with better bodies than me.
Like flex night status?
Pretty much. Like they look as good as he does. Almost. And I thought, I don't know if anyone's going to hire me off of this website. But I did the research and I thought about this as a thing I could go into completely on my own. I just became as informed as possible. Like if you want a job, you have to study for it and be prepared in case it ever comes up, right?
Right, absolutely. It's a normal thing to do.
So it came up.
How does it just come up?
Yeah. Weird series of events. Weird things happen to me, Pete. That's why we're here. That's why Off the Cliff Pod's a thing.
And this is why you don't need alcohol to have a good time, apparently. I'm sure you probably can appreciate this, but most people's stupid stories centered around drugs or alcohol.
Yeah, that one time when I was so drunk, that's how most people's stories start. I've been sober every day of my entire life.
And yet
that one time I wasn't drinking, this happened.
All right, what the hell happened to where you can just rationalize here was my like 8 Mile moment to be a stripper?
It was May 2016. I had just put on a professional wrestling seminar at Pinhead's Entertainment Center. So some of my friends and I could get a learning experience from a fellow who worked for a very large company. At the conclusion of said seminar, I was to drive famous professional wrestler from Indianapolis to Cincinnati. My friend Scotty Young asked if he could ride along in the car.
How very noble of him.
Yes. So the three of us drove down I-74 straight to Cincinnati, and we dropped off famous unknown individual, and we turned around and started our trek back into Indiana. It was at that moment Scotty Young said, "Hey man, let's get some food." I said, "Scotty Young, you're right. We should get some food. What are you in the mood for?" Scotty Young said, "I think I'd really like to have a beer." Scotty Young often says, "Man, I think I'd really like to have a beer."
Look, knowing a little bit about Mr. Young, I don't think ever in his life has he been that eloquent or polite. Is that genuinely what he says?
I'm probably paraphrasing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just for authenticity's sake, I wanted to point that
probably
out.
Paraphrasing. But the important thing is that he wanted a beer. And, we weren't going to be able to get that in most places in between Cincinnati and Indianapolis. So I go ahead, I type in on my dash GPS. I'm like, all right, let's look for some food. I'm like, you know what, Scotty Young? Let's try and find some local bar. Probably hasn't seen some outsiders in a while. So we're clicking and
scrolling past the Hooters and the Chili's. You don't want any of this corporate crap.
Exactly. We want down home cooking. And yeah, we earned it. We worked hard that day. We were showing what we had to a guy with a lot of power. You know what? Some good came of it later, but that's besides the point. It's a story for another day. I scrolling through my GPS and I say, "Hey, St. Leon Tavern in St. Leon, Indiana. That just sounds like a place no one's ever been."
I need a landmark. Where the hell is a St. Leon? Or maybe it's French. Lyon.
Lyon. I have been to France.
Of course you have.
Yeah. But this was just inside the Indiana border on the way back from 74 and Cincinnati. So we were, I don't know, maybe exit 5 and 10.
That's a little more specific than I was looking for, but thank you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to give you what I got here. There's nothing there. There's nothing in this area. We take the exit and we drive like a mile and a half, like all the way off the exit, which is a good sign because if it's anything's right off the exit, that means people go there. We pull into like this little village. And it's just houses everywhere and like nothing else. It's like the most country of burbs you could find. We're looking like there's nothing that looks like a bar here. But we drive a little bit around in a circle and boom, there's a sign on that house. St. Leon Tavern.
Oh no.
And we're like, yes, this is exactly what we were looking for.
Some residence with a sign. That's what you envisioned.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that's how a lot of places like we grew up are. Is that how Bongi's is, Pete?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But St. Leon Tavern did not have duck, unlike Bongi's.
The Duckling à l'orange, also French.
Fagua.
Oh.
Recently, when I was in Paris, I had Fagua. Really, I did, though. It was great.
How do I like how we just shift gears to pretentiousness.
Do you know how famous I am?
Well, but just to wind back up at the St. Leon Tavern.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was recently in Paris, France. But you know where I was right before that? St. Leon, Indiana, in a house bar.
Nice.
Scotty Young and I walk into St. Leon Tavern. And this is like a movie or like a TV show where you walk in and the needle pulls across the record and goes dead silent and everyone turns around in their seat and stares at the door.
The old, you ain't from around here, are you?
This is exactly what happened. The music was still going. I'm pretty sure the jukebox stayed on, but everyone in that tavern did a 180 in their seat and just stared at us. There are probably like 20 people in there. This is like 5 p.m. on a Thursday. I'm like,
and what the hell else are they doing? You know?
Exactly. Not working. So Scotty Young and I look at each other and we're like, yeah, this is exactly where we're supposed to be in life right now. And we see 2 seats in the very middle of the bar, like a decently crowded bar. There's 2 seats right in the middle. And we know that's where we have to sit because we have to meet these people. We have to talk to them. They need to know us. We need to know them. We need to go deep below the surface with St. Leon, Indiana now.
Very few moments of clarity just happen in life, folks. But when you know, you just know it.
When you know, you know. Pusha T told me. I went and sat right in the middle of that bar. And these people, like, they continue to look at us, but they go back like upon their merry way. And I go ahead and order water, and Scotty Young probably ordered 4 beers. And these people start talking to us, like, hey, how's it going? You know, what are you guys doing? Like, how'd you guys get here? So, we worked. We're from Indianapolis. We're in Cincinnati for work. So just heading back to Indy, and we just wanted to stop and get something local, like something cool. And they're like, oh man, well, what do you guys do for work? And at that point, Scotty Young whispers to me really quietly, so only I can hear, like, hey, we should work them.
And for those of us who may be marks, what does this mean?
So Scotty Young is saying that we should make up something and mess with them. Like, we should rib these people a little bit. We should have some fun.
So this is just a thing that you people do.
Yeah, us carnies. Yeah, us carny wrestlers. This is the thing we do. So, like I said, I just recently went on like a 4-day bender where I did nothing but work out and watch Magic Mike. Magic Mike 2. Joe Manganiello looks great in that movie, by the way.
Magic Mike XL.
Yeah, XXL.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot an X. I don't know.
I don't remember. It's a great movie, though. Donald Glover was in it. He's never touched anything bad.
That's true. We're talking about Childish Gambino?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Not to be confused with Danny Glover.
Right. Different guy.
Been in some pretty bad stuff. But he's in those Badass in the Bayou movies.
Well, but he's getting too old for this.
Yeah, he's still trying, man. God bless him. Probably a great guy.
Probably a great guy.
So he said we should work him. And without missing a beat, I said, we're exotic dancers. At which point the bar goes quiet. They all look at us again. Those who weren't listening are now listening. They're like, what was that? Yeah, we're male dancers.
You heard me. We shake it for dollar bills. What?
Mm-hmm. They're like, what are you doing in St. Leon? I'm like, oh, like I was just saying, we're from Indianapolis and we worked in Cincinnati. And we're on the way back home. Like, what were you doing in Cincinnati? I'm like, bachelor party on a Wednesday night. How crazy is that? Am I right?
Hold on. I need to clarify because what you said was bachelor party. Just now.
Bachelorette party.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Bachelorette party.
I mean, either way, it's cool. Not judging.
Honestly, probably would have made more money at the bachelor party, but we had a bachelorette party that night. At least we're going to pay rent this week.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I'll get into the details of this fictional story at any point with you. I know we would have made more money at a bachelor party.
How do I know? Research.
Pony up, girls. So then that prompts this entire bar. By the way, they're not discussing or anything. They're just super fascinated. They're like, really? This sounds great. I think one person even turned and was like, oh man, like, yeah, I did notice you guys were in really good shape. And they started asking us all these questions. Like, oh, do you guys have to work out? I'm like, yeah, we work out all the time. Obvi. Look at us. They say, oh, like, how does this work? How do you do this? How do you do that? I'm like, oh, well, they contacted us. We went down last night. We decided we're just going to stay the night. And, on the way home, we're just going to grab some grub. And now we're in St. Leon because we want to meet the locals.
Because we are culturally diverse in our travels. We enjoy meeting the people.
The strippers with the heart of gold.
Oh, I think that's the title of this episode.
Nice. Then eventually we're going to say the bartender female was probably like 45, 50, your typical older woman that works at a bar. and she immediately pulls out $1 and she starts hooting and hollering about how I need to go ahead and give her a dance. I'm like, nah, girl, I'm off the clock right now. And they also ask, oh, hey, what music do you guys normally dance to? To which I respond, well, we let the customer pretty much choose, but it needs to have like a certain vibe. So like it's usually what's popular, like hip hop at the moment. I was like, it's been a lot of like Drake lately, and Scotty Young chimes in, yeah, a lot of The Weeknd.
Weekend. Good job, Scotty Young.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? We can't really dance to this because country music's playing. I can't really like dance to this or anything, I'm like, oh, okay. The conversation continues. Now they're throwing out a bunch of like questions, and I know the answer to everyone. Like immediately, I know the answer to everyone. Scotty Young does not know the answer to everyone. So I go to the restroom, and I come back from the restroom, and I just hear Scotty Young. You're gonna have to ask Jake about that one.
Oh no, Scotty Young has lost his cool. Has he blown the cover?
He hasn't blown the cover yet. So,
but he is well on his way.
Yeah, but he knows what he has to do, which is deflect. He has to just give the ball to me, and I'm going to take it and run with it. I'm Emmitt Smith. So,
could we get someone not from the 90s?
I don't know any.
Saquon Barkley?
I don't know any running backs. LaDainian Tomlinson?
No.
Does he still play?
No.
All right. I'm Edgar and James. All right. Just give me the ball. So, Scotty Young, you're going to have to ask Jake about that one. I'm like, oh, yeah. What do we need? And a woman says, well, like, how much do you guys charge? So I'm like, well, I just did my research. I said, we're $100 an hour, 2-hour minimum, plus transportation. And like, oh, okay, that seems reasonable. Like, yeah, and, obviously we'll stay more. If it's over like 3-hour drive, like a hotel is complimentary. Yada, yada. And, of course, tips, like make sure everyone has a lot of ones. She's like, oh, okay, that seems cool. Would you guys be available in October for a bachelorette party? Absolutely. We are available for a bachelorette party in October. And Scotty looks at me kind of weird. And like, well, how do we get in touch with you guys?
Ooh. What do you do?
Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, ladies, here's the secret, Actually, this isn't something we tell everyone that we do.
Everyone that we do.
This isn't something we tell everyone we come into contact with as our job. It's like, we're also professional wrestlers. And you know what? You can just go ahead and look up Jake Oman on Facebook, like that page, and send me a message whenever you want. So she immediately pulls open Facebook, looks up Jake Oman, likes that page, boom. I'm like, I expect a message from you when October comes around. We continue the conversation. We eat our food. I don't remember what we got. I just remember it was awesome. Like it was just dirty, greasy burger and fries or something like that. Like it was just perfect bar food that we needed from St. Leon, Indiana.
Oh my God. That's right up there with crap that sober people don't say. I think that there just might be something wrong with your brain, that this is what you expect.
To me, this is the equivalent of fagua, which I've had recently when I was in France.
Yes. Does everyone know there was this time, more than one time, when you were in the France?
Yeah, you know how much stuff I had in France?
Lots of stuff.
I also had fresh crab.
How do you know it was free? You know what?
We picked it out of the water.
We're venturing off topic.
Okay. We'll get back. That's a story for another day. So we pay our bill, and I'm like, all right, man, let's go ahead and get going. It's at that exact moment that the super sexually repressed or frustrated bartender holds up a remote and clicks on the jukebox. Boom, The Weeknd comes on, and she cranks that sumbitch up. She starts hooting and hollering, and everyone at the bar starts hooting and hollering. She walks around the bar, pulls up a chair, swings it around, sits in that chair, and starts flashing dollar bills at Scotty Young and I.
This is great.
This is a straight up a movie, Pete. Everyone turns and just starts chanting and cheering for us to give this woman a dance. Now, I said I think that type of dancing is impossible, right?
Right.
Yeah, well, I'm Prince compared to what Scotty Young has as far as dance moves.
So what, Scotty Young just crapping his pants?
Yeah, I'm Michael Jackson compared to the robot that is Scotty Young's dancing ability. So he is a deer in headlights, terrified. He knows he's going to blow the cover if he has to do this dance. But luckily, I've been watching Magic Mike XXL all week. I know enough moves to make this story solid, to corroborate everything I've said.
You put in the time, the research, logged the hours.
So
Woman's locked and loaded.
I throw a high roundhouse kick-esque move over this lady's head. I straddle her lap. I start just riding that like pony, like Ginuwine's playing. It's the weekend. And I start going to town, gyrating my body like I've never done in my entire life.
The moment you just became. Well, what is your stripper name? Did you pick one? Is it just Jake Oman? Wrestler or stripper?
How did I never come up with a stripper name?
You don't have a stripper name.
No.
In all your hours of research.
There's no bar around here that I can strip at.
Well, way to go. Now you're just Jake. So
I need
just
everyone.
Jake.
I need everyone to go ahead and like hit me up on like Instagram or Twitter and say what you think my stripper name should be. It's got to be good.
I think that probably goes without saying. You're not going to be Jake the Rubber Duck or something.
Oh, I've been to some strip clubs and like seen some and heard some really bad names. I've seen some bad strippers and heard some bad names.
I apologize. I've taken us off topic again. Bring me back to your gyrations.
Yeah, I spin myself around on this woman like a top. So I'm straddling her. I go ahead, take her hand, run it up my shirt. I undo a few buttons. I give her one last feel of the abs. I whip my leg over her. I say, we're out. I throw up the deuces. Scotty Young and I bolt. The whole crowd cheers us as we leave. Thank you, St. Leon.
I don't have a better way to end that.
Yep, that's it.
Man.
This is the most honest story I've ever told in my entire life. Everything went down exactly like this.
So dreams do come true. If you put in the internet research hours before, and you just have that moment of clarity to know now is your time, and this is where I am to be.
Even if a dream didn't come true for me, it did for that 45-year-old bartender in St. Leon, Indiana that May.